of you want to do things right? To keep up with keeping your lives tight. Tight as in being right with the truth of true insight. Who of you want to do things right? Who of you want to truly succeed in attaining all in that which is your need? To be heard by the real answerer of all deeds, the true hero of all whom pleads. Who of you really want to bow down to the true King of Kings commanding the crown? To worship the one that ever rules alone, commanding everything of creation from the seat of its throne.
Good evening and welcome to an I Have Moment, the calm before the storm. I'm your host, Minister A.H.A.D. With me here, Brother Fakil Abdul-Aziz, and with us on the set is Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem. May I eat his peace and other blessings be within the mighty God's presence. We want to thank all of you for tuning in this evening to our program. Those who we consider I have believed that are watching us, we hope you've been enjoying the information that's been given forth for this program, that you may be enlightened thereof. With that being said, we're going to just question the message of prophet, because we know he's just in his 13th year of his title of message of prophethood, and that's a great blessing from Ahezaah. The Lord has been given a great gift of mercy and sacrifice this day and this time. With that being said, Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, want to thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to have you on our program. Yes, sir.
Well, let me just say, you said 13th year. Actually, it's my 27th year of enlightenment.
Okay.
You know, so people don't get confused. But it's the 13th year of since Ahezaah Allah announced that I was his chosen prophet.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Lord Holy-Apostle Deen, the term enlightenment, when you say that it's the 27th year of
almost 28th year. Enlightenment, like when people said, Jesus said, you know, you seek the light, you know, you'll find the light, or different things. They talk about the light of truth. In Islam, they talk about the nur, you know, nur, the light of Ra or Aten, in the old ancient Egyptian. It's the purifying light of the Christ, the purifying light and fire of the Christ. When you become enlightened, it's when you surrender yourself completely to Ahezaah to do its service, and you become taken in by that, where you actually, you know, you lose your will to do things of your own, and the charge of sin is taken away from you, as to where you become a tool in the hand of the Lord Most High, and you're not responsible for any charges of sin. You know, the Lord takes that away from you, because, you know, like they say, the Lord works in strange ways, and the men of the Lord are many times misunderstood. People have a tendency to think that they act of their own accord, but no man that's enlightened and no man that's taken as a holy law-bearing messenger can actually be charged. They shouldn't be charged by men on earth, but people on earth don't. You know, people don't realize that. You know, like you're never to judge a holy man, a true holy man, and some people who have heard that, you know, being said and follow various religions and being taken by false prophets, they trust priests and ministers and imams and what have you to the fullest, and they be taken, you know. But when it comes to those particular people that pretend to be holy men of the Lord Most High, they are judged and executed, and, you know, at the throne of judgment. But people on earth don't know about that. You know, we tell them, you know, but how many people believe? And then you have people saying, you know, well, you only live one life, so, you know, you might as well get all that you can. That's the way the devil speaks. But the life hereafter is just as real, if not more real, than this life, from my own experience. You know,
I know a lot of people mention, in many religions and faiths, people all have a so-called life hereafter, or they profess to believe it. But when one speaks about it, have arrived and brought back from the Lord and speaks about that, that's why I see many people have a problem and accepting that, because I know for us, as an example, being I have believers, and what I even said down in the Quran, for example, when it said in Baqarah, those who believe in it and the unseen first, and then you start describing or speaking of the unseen realms, then people immediately begin to shut down. Wait a minute, I know we told to believe this. That's why I think the difference with profession of faith and when you come from of the faith, of being of that
You
truth.
know, it's one of the problems. People, the Lord tells people, you know, that it is the judge. The Lord
Right.
is the judge. And there's no one to judge but it. And people say, well, I'm not a judge of you, I'm not a judge of anything.
Right.
You know, but then they judge themselves.
Okay.
And when they judge themselves astray.
Okay.
You know, and when people read that, it sounds kind of strange the way it's said. You know, I judge you, or you judge yourself astray.
Right.
Well, in other words, in your judgment, you immediately go astray, because you're not a true knower of yourself. You're not the creator of yourself. You're not the manifester of yourself. You are one manifested.
Right.
You know, but you're not the manifester of yourself. You're not the sustainer of your own life, which in the illusions of life you believe that you are by eating food.
Right.
You know, but when you get real deep on the reality of being, is it the food that sustains you, or is it Allah that sustains you?
Right.
Is it the essence or the elements of the food, or is it Allah, Ahezaah, that sustains you? And people will say by science,
That's
it's the essence, it's the elements, it's those nutrients, it's all that stuff in there that sustains you, but that's not true. That's part of the illusion. The reality is, and I'll tell you, I say it like this here, people might say he don't know what he's talking about, but I do.
Right.
The Lord sustains each element,
Right.
every essence of being, every nutrient, every property that gives you life, every definite aspect of being, most essential aspect of your being, everything about you, the Lord sustains it, right? Upholds it, creates it, and keep it in life. So what is really sustaining you? The Lord. It's not those elements. We're put in a life of law.
Right.
We have to live under law in order the will of the Lord, whether we reject it or not.
Right.
And in this law, those elements, the essence is part of this law.
Wow.
Part of it. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
It's like you got the sun up in the sky, you know, it's ever burning. It's a star.
Right.
And it's burning, it's gathering gases, you know. Well, who's the gatherer of those gases, those elements that's the fuel of the sun? People want to say, well, creation, you know, is natural. Well, the Lord is natural. The Lord Most High is the source of natural. It's that which makes natural natural.
Right.
You see, so it's actually the doer of all things, but these things that it's doing it through are objects of its use.
Okay.
You see, and then by them being objects of its use, they appear to be the real, when they are only the objects of the real. That's where you get, where we come into the reality.
Okay.
You know, those things are the itty of the real, the small things, the useful things of the real.
Right.
You know?
Lord, you're saying that unseen reality, Ahezaah, is that unseen reality behind the laws of nature, the laws of science that the various science and geologists put out for the
it's a good
and stuff.
I like the way you use that word, but then again, I don't like the way you use the word behind the scene.
Okay.
We use that word behind the scene, but in actuality, it's not a good word.
Right.
You know, because it's not just behind it, it's before it. It's on all sides. It's permeating whatever is happening. You know, it's mixed on through and through. So it's not really behind it, it's hidden within and about the being of all things.
Right. Okay.
So it is that thing that's hidden from our view of it. You know, it's unseen. And it's manifesting all that's manifested. All that's being made known is making known all that's being made known in life. And it is the actuality. It is the actual reality. It is life itself.
Right.
You see, that we are a part of. That we receive mind and breath and essence and movement from. You know, so we think we real, right?
Yeah.
When it's really the real,
Right.
you know, making what is.
One thing that you've always stressed to us is those things, that all things are dependent. As you're speaking about now in the realm, from the smallest that you talk from the nutrients to the atoms, to the largest thing, to the sun, for example. But all things are dependent upon the Lord Most High.
Yes.
And people out there who don't know how to make that disassociation or disconnection from not being independent, thinking that they're independent of the Lord, thinking they have their own life, they have their own moving and being in life as though they have existence of themselves. That was one of the things that one of the things you brought to us that I took in. It took a while to be broken down and to understand.
Really?
Yeah, you know, coming forth from a background of Christianity, and you're not really taught this reality or taught this truth.
Right.
And then all things they told me, everything was dependent upon Jesus being saved, sacrificed for your sins and everything. And so it's like, wow, when you came with this truth to me, it was like, wow, you almost like exploded all the falsehood or the thing that I've been taught and took it in and tried to hold on as truth, but it never quite fit. And you came with that simple thing about everything is being dependent, the strength of the ants, to the power of the sun, all dependent upon the reality essence of the Lord. I said,
upon the reality that
permeates everything.
I wonder if I can attach
to
that comment. I run across a person who insisted that they had a right, or that all people had a right to have their perception of religion. You know, to say, I want to perceive the religion, and the belief in Ahezaah is as I perceive it, as I believe it, and there's nothing wrong with me having my own belief systems.
Well, in a sense, that's true. Okay. You know, even though you beg to differ, but everybody and everything has a right to be wrong.
Okay.
Right. So they want to choose to be wrong. They choose to be wrong. But Ahezaah gives you the right to be wrong, or the right to surrender to it.
Okay.
I choose to surrender to it. I chose to surrender to it. I chose it to be my guide. You know, the creator, the maker, the producer, you know, of me. I chose to let it because it knows me better than I knew myself.
Okay.
And I believed that when I read that. That was the essence, part of the essence of my being and my birth. To believe that, to believe what's revealed by the unseen. So I chose to surrender to it so that I would be of the righteous.
Okay.
You see? And I eschew the wrong. You know? And I don't want that right to be wrong. I want to be submitted, compelled by it, where I am of its wisdom and it makes me right.
For those that watch, let me cut you off, brother. For those that watch this program, one of the greatest misconceptions that many people have in religion is this thing about free will. If you had a chance, could you explain to people the illusion of free will?
Well, let's get back to what
go ahead.
I thought the question was going to be direct. Thank God. It's strange that my question was going to be sort of in that area too, whereas a person may truly believe that perception is of their own creation, of their own making, or a sincere thing. You know, they think it's given to them freely to freely have and to go about. Where are they at fault when they encounter or they hear of the real messenger being here and present and giving out a message to the world?
I'm going to answer that question with a spin on it that you've never heard before. Okay. First of all, this thing about free will.
Yes.
We all have free will, right? That's what they say.
They say, right.
Okay, and what Ahezaah has taught us, Ahezaah has taught us, is that it is the only free. It is free. Nothing else is free.
Right.
Everything other than it, and it is the most strange and most opposing, the opposite, the most separate thing there is from all creation. So everything but it is captivated. And it is the only thing that has the ability to go away from creation and exist. Away from creation. Therefore, it is independent of creation. See, man has a tendency to look at creation as the infinite being of reality. When creation is inside the infinite being of reality. It is inside it.
Yes.
Just like that water is inside that cup.
Right.
But there's life outside that cup. There's something outside that cup.
Right.
May not be associated with that water at all.
That's right. Okay.
So, in reality, we are all inside creation, inside the infinite being, the infinite reality, the eternal being. But it's not locked up inside here with us.
Right.
It has places endless beyond creation.
Right.
Now, everything, life itself is its will.
Okay. All right.
We have life, don't we?
Yes.
And we all have free will. Free life. It's the free.
Right.
We all have it.
That's
Because it is in and about the being of everything.
true. Right.
It permeates everything.
Right.
It manifests everything. So we all have it.
Right.
It didn't have us. But it can be without us. But we are of its will. We have its will. We submitted to its will.
Okay.
See? You can disobey the command of Allah. You can disobey the command of the Lord of the throne. It allows you to live a life of disobedience.
Okay.
By its will, you can disobey it. By its will. But you can't disobey its will. There's nothing.
Right.
It sets nothing above its will.
Right.
It creates and manifests and contains everything by its will.
Right.
So there's your free will. You're locked up inside of it no matter what you do. See, when I was young, people used to say, free as a bird. And I used to look at the birds and say, boy, the birds are free. But every time you see a bird go up, you come back down.
That's right.
How free is the bird?
Right.
That bird ain't free at all.
He's still bound by the law.
That bird lives by the law.
Right. That's
And
right.
it lives by the law that the Lord places on it.
That's right. So true. I thought about as you were speaking about, when you mentioned about the water, about the fish, for example. They're contained in the ocean, but if they come outside the ocean, their existence...
they defy their law unless they're one of those types of fish, you know, that can exist in two elements,
right.
You know?
Yeah, that's so true. Wow.
That's like the messenger prophets of the Lord Most High.
Okay.
We can exist in the physical and we can exist in the spiritual.
Right.
Those fish can exist some fish can exist in the water and out the water for certain periods of time.
Right. And how many people realize when they're speaking to you, for example, but you spoke about this earlier today about those who try to analyze, for example, the messengers, try to get into the mind. And knowing that only thing that's contained in the mind is the Lord itself, and it speaks to you consciously, making you aware that it's present. And then those outside you realize, like as you're talking to us now, we've always been taught and believe that the Lord is communicating to us in this moment. But people outside the circle sitting here and watch this program might say, how the Lord talking to him and he talking to them? You understand what I'm saying now?
Yeah, you know, there's an old saying, and it's true, that in order for you to understand the message of the Lord,
right,
in its holiness, in its fullness,
right,
you have to come to the way that it gives that message through its men,
right,
through its messengers. You can't understand me to the fullest.
right.
In other words, you can't stand under me in the firmness or security of your awareness until you come to that same level of awareness,
right,
being confirmed and made certain by the Lord, living the certainty of the Lord's sight and awareness and knowledge.
Okay.
You know, and its security and authority to be of it.
Okay.
You see, but you can relate in your mind through the language that we speak what I'm talking about. You have a semblance of what I'm talking about because you've lived.
Right.
You see, but not until you live here can you fully understand, because see, people have made too many appearances, too many facades, too many allusions to the real in their books and in their pictures and on their television programs and movie program, theater and what have you. They've made too many suggestions to the people for the people to have a clear awareness about what is for real.
Right.
Now, why I say that? I talk from experience. I studied before my enlightenment. I studied before, in other words, before I became completely aware or in the unity with the Lord Most High as one. And I believe that I understood.
Okay.
And I took, I deduced from what things I heard people say in my conversations with them, and I made the configurations in my mind about what it was I was going to believe and disbelieve. And when I came to the Lord, I found out that all that I had held on to really was illusions. Because I came to the Lord thinking that I was responsible for getting there. I came to the Lord believing that I had did some good in the world. You know? And I came to the Lord believing that I was independently drawn to it, or drew myself to it. I chose to be of it. But it showed me that no, you're not independent of me at all.
Right.
You weren't responsible for coming to me. I brought you to me. Because you can't get to the Lord yourself.
Right.
You see, the Lord said to me, your power is in your tongue and in your heart. With your tongue and your heart, what you say, being in conjunction with your heart and your mind.
Okay.
Bringing that to the harmony and the reality of this command that's in your soul.
Right.
Which is reached in the center of soul plate, is in your solar plate, your navel area.
Right.
You understand? And your soul is that thing that's far away from you in the heavens, in the great mystery of the Lord Most High, beyond all that you know, but it's attached to you like on an umbilical cord in the universal womb of life.
Right.
You see? So, you know, it's like you think you know, but you don't know.
Right.
You know, for instance, when I thought I had read the Quran, I thought I had read the Quran. Yeah, I read the Quran so many times. I read it wrong.
Right.
Like the young folks say, not.
Right.
You know? I read it, but when the Lord read it to me, first couple of lines, it proved to me that I hadn't read it at all. See, I read it with my own mind, but I didn't read it.
Right.
Because it is what it gave, what Ahezaah gave.
Right.
Now, if you read the words and you're not reading the meaning, you're not reading it. You're reading your own meaning in your own words.
Right, okay.
Huh? Just like to you and I, you know, in private on the street, hey, that's my nigga. Right? But let a Caucasian come and say, hey, nigga. Whole different meaning.
Right.
Whole different meaning.
Yeah.
But to us, we know that, we use that as maybe that's just a intimate way of expressing ourselves in the streets.
Right.
That's street language. You know, and some of our politicians and, you know, holier than thou politicians who are the devil's servants, they get drawn all up in their confusion.
Right.
And, you know, they want to make like that word is such a devastating and hellacious word when they know themselves, a lot of them know themselves that that word came from the word Negro. You know, because the Southerners couldn't say Negro. They was Negro. Well, I'm a Negro. He's a Negro. And then, you know, they just shorten it up. He's a nigger. You know.
Yeah. Some mispronunciation.
But we hate, you know, those who had that stigma in them of the northern blacks, or even some of the southern blacks, but most of the northern blacks, who got that thing going on in them. They hate to hear Caucasians from the South talk anyway. Just hearing them talk reminds them of slavery.
Right.
You know, so they ain't just the word nigger. It's just the persona of them people, you know.
Look at the question. 1979, April 13th and 14th.
Right.
Those who are not familiar, see, it's hard, it's funny, because I see this program, being in close contact with the messenger, being entrenched in the teachings, but sometimes you have to play what I call, and I hate to change the term devil's advocate, but act like I don't know, but for the sake of the people, because they're hearing these things, instead of putting questions out there. Now, you mentioned 1979, for example, and we know in this community, as I have believed, that April 30th and 40th is your spiritual birthday. Right. You know. Could you take people back maybe to the night of power that we recognize in the religion that's called Islam? You know, that the Lord Most High is descended upon, coming down into this world of mankind.
Yes, it's something, but let me just say this here, since you feel kind of strange, you call it playing the devil's advocate?
I'm not strange, but you know.
If you don't act your part to the fullest, then you will be the devil.
Right.
The devil's advocate. Right. No, you're not playing the devil's advocate because, you know, as you know, maybe the people need to know. Some might even ask, why do we have these people on the panel? Why do you have them up here? Why is this? It's easier for us to converse
Exactly.
and get the message across to the people, and for me to come up here and start teaching.
Right.
Because, you know, you help me keep a balance.
Okay.
And somebody say, well, how did he help you keep a balance? You know, why you need a balance. You know, when Holy Queen Mother's here, she's definitely helps keep a balance.
Yes.
Because you know yourself, I be talking and I be into deep into the teachers.
Yes, sir.
And it's like, you know, this helps me because you have a greater view about what the people need to hear.
Yeah, right, okay.
You know, because I haven't been involved with the society in such a long time. I pulled myself away and doing my work, you know, staying constantly and involved with getting the word from the Lord and preparing all these books that's and so, you know, if it's Allah's will, it's going to get out there soon enough along with this one. And so, you know, it's like, it's good that you can sit here and ask the right questions.
Right.
You know, some people might think that we rehearse, but you know, we don't rehearse because even if we was to rehearse, Ahezaah may just come and change that whole thing up while we're sitting here.
Done that.
So it's like, I mean, his words is endless, and so it doesn't even make sense for us to try to rehearse a thing. It's better to let the people know that we naturally bring this conversation anyway. You know.
I have to smile because I'm happy in the audience because we're at the mercy of the Lord.
Oh, definitely.
This is a very real thing, and oftentimes, teacher, when you're giving a lesson, when you cause, you know, we're subject to grasping something new or something to grow upon ourselves. So, being a devil's advocate, I have to say we can't help but, for lack of a better term, to be that, you know. And
well, we don't want to throw the devil's credit.
Exactly. That's
so
why.
much. So let's just say the host. You the host of the show,
right?
And you're throwing questions out that maybe the people want to answer because I'm still wondering why we don't get mail.
Right.
I know we're using the government system of the U.S. Post Office who have, you know, certain individuals you know, seem to have shown us that they don't want us to grow as a community. They don't want this message out, so therefore, you know, because you can't tell me in 10 years, you know, I haven't received one letter, one hate mail, one anything, you know, it's like nothing, you know, I mean, you know, but
sometimes you're going to talk about the night of power.
Yes, I didn't forget that.
Yeah, well, no, I didn't want to ask another, you know, I didn't want to go into another question until we had an opportunity to share with us.
Okay, you can go into another question too, because you know that's a big subject.
Yeah. We were talking about when we were talking about the people, their responsibility, and seeing that this is the true word. Many times you'll get comments on those very people that pretend as if they've never heard you, they've never heard of you or anything of the community of A.H.A.D or Lord Holy-Apostle Deen Saleem.